Hi guys, welcome back to Ask a Lawyer channel. I have 3 new stories for you today. The first one is about OP's wife, who is hiding from her husband that he will have to cover her family's Vegas vacation expenses. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Last year I turned 30. My wife organized a party at a local bar. It was a blast, and about half my wife's immediate family turned up. I didn't expect or need any of them to come, but they did. I appreciated the effort, but honestly, it's not like it cost them anything. They got free food and drink, no hotel needed, and only one even brought a card. So when my wife asked if I'd be okay going to her younger brother's 28th birthday, I said yes, of course I'd go. Yesterday, I got the details of what I'd agreed to. My wife's parents decided to turn the birthday into a big family vacation. They've booked a huge penthouse villa just off the strip. All we've been told is the price and shown a photo of the room picked for us. We now owe them over $1,000 for pretty much the smallest room in the penthouse for 3 nights. I told my wife that I thought the room seemed overpriced, and she got pretty defensive. At that point, I knew something was up, so I felt I had to ask questions because I can see what's coming. I asked these 2 questions. What was the total cost of the penthouse villa, and how many rooms total? This might sound odd to you, but trust me, I've seen variations of this before. My wife said she didn't know how many rooms, but the total cost was $3,300. At this point, I'm thinking, well, that means a 3-bedroom penthouse. I tell my wife that I wish we'd been involved in picking the place, as we could have got one way cheaper. Now we've got to pay over $1,000 for an over-the-top place to stay, airfare, get my parents to babysit the kids, all for a 27th birthday for a guy who came to my 30th, had some free beer, and left after an hour. Don't get me wrong, he's a decent enough guy. It's the room thing that gets me mad. I find the penthouse on Airbnb. It's not a 3-bedroom place. It's a 5-bedroom place. So why are we paying a third, I ask my wife. She replies, it was the only one her parents could find. I mean, seriously, in Vegas? Also, the price I'm looking at on Airbnb is close to half what her parents are asking. Apparently, the weekend we are going is a special weekend. Don't remember why. So the price is doubled. My wife is getting pretty annoyed with my questions right now. I can see it on her face. I ask her, how come we aren't moving the weekend 1 week back or forwards to get the regular price of the room at around $1,500? Or why don't we get a 3-bedroom condo instead of a 5-bedroom penthouse to save money? Or just book into a hotel? At this point, it's all academic. I can't check Airbnb for that precise weekend for that place as they've already booked it. I'm seriously tempted to contact the owner. I don't really get an answer on this one, so I ask the main thing that's bothering me. Who is going? If we are paying a third of the cost of a 5-bedroom penthouse villa, but we are only using 3 rooms? I ask, is it your younger brother, birthday boy, or your parents and us? Wife replies no. It's actually her brother and wife whose birthday it is, her parents, and her older sister. So wait, I ask, why isn't she staying in the 4th room? Apparently, she's just going to stay in the parents' room on the pull-out couch. Which means 2 things. 1, my wife's parents have got the biggest room by far. 2, no way is the sister going to actually stay on a daybed when there is an empty room, but she gets out of paying. She's not broke, makes a decent amount as a CPA. Then I ask the question that I've been waiting to ask. Is your brother Jimmy and his wife coming? The answer is no, a definite no. In fact, my wife said she would have preferred if her alcoholic youngest brother came, as we would have split the costs. From past experience of paying for this freeloader to go on family vacations, I can see exactly the same thing is happening again. My wife's family seems to take great pleasure in getting us to pay for most everything we do together, and my wife will say nothing. At this point, I'm angry at my in-laws and my wife. Every single time Jimmy and his wife wasn't supposed to be coming on a trip, they turned up. Every time her family came to see us, we end up paying for restaurant bills and gas money for them. We aren't talking about broke people here. We are talking about well-paid professionals who have bad money management and like to live like they are Kardashians. My wife tells me I should just be happy to spend time with her family and to quit worrying. Jimmy isn't coming, gets said every time, and her older sister will sleep in her parents' room. She tells me to quit being an a-hole, and she would do the same for my parents. Except she doesn't. We see her parents for a full weekend. I find it hard, but it's important, so I do it. My wife won't visit my parents for more than a few hours. I get different reasons why, but right now it's because they smoke. My parents majorly cut back when I told them this and had the place professionally cleaned. Even she admits it's better. She's happy for me to drop our kids off with my parents when we need some time, or a babysitter. She doesn't even come with me most times to pick our kids up. She's seen my parents for a couple of hours a time 4 times this year. I'm looking at close to 2 full weeks with my in-laws. I feel like we are getting off topic, but when she claims she would happily go on vacation with my parents, that just doesn't feel true to me. We've been on vacation with them once, for 5 days in 2013. She acts like things are fair and equal, but they just aren't. She made it difficult as hell to organize another vacation with my family. The conversation ends with my wife saying she's sick of me being paranoid, that I don't have a right to know how many rooms the place is or how much it was, just what we have to pay. That they got an incredible deal on an amazing place in Vegas and I should be happy. I feel privately that my brother's 27th birthday is way over the top, but that's his business. I should have been informed of the scale of his birthday before being asked to agree to it, so we could make an informed decision. Like 4 other vacations with my wife's family, Jimmy isn't coming, until he is. Getting a penthouse that is twice the price when we could half it by moving it 1 weekend is insane. Getting a 5-bedroom place when we only need 3 is just manipulation. My wife's sister is going to take 1 room, and Jimmy will take the other for sure. I've suggested we stay at a hotel on the Strip to sort this issue out. My wife says no, we go and we pay a third, or she goes without me. My wife has told me if I have an issue to take it up with her mother, and if Jimmy shows up, make it clear there and then that it's not fair. There's no way I want to do that. It would cause a major argument. I figure my wife knows this as well, and that's why she wants to portray this as shut up and deal with it or tell my mother. She's betting I'll just fall into line. Or I can stop attending family events and pull her family apart, as she puts it. I love my wife very much, and I know she has a difficult, controlling family. Still, I saw what people wrote and decided to check out the price a bit deeper. Turns out, the weekend we are going is more expensive because of a Vegas convention. We could save over $1,000 just moving the vacation a week forward or back. They aren't going to the event, and it's weeks away from the birthday anyway, so why not? I decide to mention this to my wife. She explodes. Tells me that neither Jimmy nor his wife or their other brother Ray is coming, and I need to chill out. She's told me it so many times, and she feels like I don't trust her. She explains she's not happy with the destination totally, but I need to get some perspective. This is about her happiness at seeing her family, and that is all that should matter to me. I find that last part odd, because it's almost saying on a level that there is some sort of problem that it doesn't matter. I query this, and she snaps. Tells me that I'm paranoid, and I need to go back and start seeing my therapist on a regular basis again. If there's one thing my wife has always prided herself on, it's telling the truth. It's all she does, she claims, and she demands some back. That's how we've both operated. There have been times in the past when I've been told things. Like before we were married and dating, one of her college friends strongly suggested that my now wife was cheating on me with a female friend. I did a little digging, and there was zero evidence for it, beyond her spending a little too much time with this friend. I asked her about it, and she said no. So I accepted that I was paranoid, and this friend fed me lies. There have been a few similar incidents over the years, and always zero evidence of my suspicions. I'm telling this so you all know I've had serious issues with feeling paranoid in the past. Each time there has been some sort of issue like this, I've been wrong. So now, I just trust my wife. For the first time in my marriage, caught my wife doing everything she claims not to, lying to me, hiding evidence. My wife says she will prove everything she said. She becomes super flustered and starts doing stuff on her tablet. I ask what she's doing, and she says she's searching for the message showing who is coming. This is in a social media app I'll not name for privacy. She hands me the tablet and tells me to look through it. Tells me I need therapy for forcing me to show her messages, and I'm ducked in the head. I point out that I never asked, let alone demanded to see messages, and hand her the tablet back and say, "No need, I trust you." She's pissed now and insists I see she is right. I look through her family message thread. I'm not allowed into the group by her parents for some reason, so I can't look myself. And I see the messages about the vacation, and there is nothing at all about Jimmy. I hand it back and say I can't see any messages about Jimmy, his wife, or Brother Ray coming or not. She gets angry and says I must be blind. I ask her to point it out, and she says no. How can I be this dumb? So I look through, and I realize what she's getting at. There's no message posted by Ray or Jimmy or his wife Karen saying they are going. I ask, is this what you mean? They've not posted that they are going, so they aren't going? She replies, yes, they never replied, so they can't come. Here's where it gets good. I notice there's a time gap on the messages and replies with my wife and her mother. So I click the trash icon on the side. There are a bunch of messages between my wife and her dad. She asks, why are we paying so much? And are Jimmy, Ray, and their partners coming? Her dad says that's why they got the rooms. They don't need to pay, so they don't need to confirm. If they can come, they have free rooms. I don't say anything to my wife. I don't feel great about opening the deleted messages. It's pretty clear she's not entirely happy, asked, found out the truth, then quickly deleted them to hide it from me. So the whole insane Vegas blowout is exactly what I thought. A massive party for her family where she gets no say and gives in to her father's demands, and I exist as an annoyance. Here's what I learned. My wife has been gaslighting me as predicted. The fact she would delete messages to hide her lies is shocking to me. Someone who never lies and whose standard I need to live up to, a hypocrite. Telling me I'm paranoid and need to be back in therapy. Saying that I'm messed up, asking to see the messages, when I never did. Of course, she was forcing me to look, to give her proof. I've said I'm not going on the trip, and my wife has accepted that. I'm now getting messages off her mother saying how selfish I am. My problem, and what I need advice is, how do I handle the lies? I don't feel great about checking my wife's trashed messages, and I didn't say anything at the time. To be honest, it was a revelation. To be able to say after 10 years that for once I was right. I felt I was being lied to and manipulated, and I was right. I didn't know how to approach things. By now, the trash probably has been auto-deleted or something. Do I mention to my wife that I saw the deleted messages? That she's lied to my face? Now my wife is saying that this is all my fault anyway, as if I could find a smaller place in Vegas. I should have suggested and booked one for everyone. But I don't participate, so it's my fault. Knowing that this penthouse was booked because, really, all the rooms were taken, makes me so mad. My wife is just lying and shifting the blame. My wife is telling more lies, making this my fault because I didn't pick a smaller penthouse. Don't remember having a voice or opinion allowed. I do care about my wife's happiness, and I feel selfish not going because of my suspicions. I feel bad about being so paranoid. I've never had any evidence of my wife lying to me, ever, and this has hit me hard. Now I wonder about all those other things in the past. I hate the fact I looked in her deleted messages when she handed me the tablet. I broke her privacy and feel bad. What I want is to introduce some honesty and work on our marriage. At least try. I think OP has to ask her to come to marriage counseling with him so that they can talk this out. She needs to hear from a neutral party that this sort of behavior isn't acceptable. Right now, she is in the fog of a controlling family and willing to ruin her marriage in order to make them happy. Hopefully, with some therapy, OP can save his marriage and his wife will start to stand up to her family. However, if she continues to take their side, then I don't think there is much OP can do. I'm shocked, frankly, that she has been expecting OP to go to family events where OP is treated rudely and excluded, and allowing this to go on for so many years. It's not how a spouse ought to treat you. My dad, 67 male, and I, 24 female, are very close and always have been. He is a good-hearted, generous, kind person who has dedicated his life and career to helping people. I recently found out that he adjusted his will such that I and my younger sister, 22 female, are not included as beneficiaries in any way. Instead, our older brother Nate, 45 male, will get everything. He says that this is solely because he thinks my sister and I can take care of ourselves, but Nate can't. For some greater context, my dad has fully financially supported Nate for his entire life. He spends his time traveling around, painting. I think in his ideal world, he would be a professional painter, and dating lots of women. He's never had a job as far as I'm aware. He has reoccurring health issues stemming from an accident when he was a young adult, and he is bipolar. He's never required in-home care of any kind, but he has been intermittently in the hospital throughout his lifetime, maybe an average of once every couple of years for several days at a time. I've never visited him in the hospital, though, nor has my dad, I believe, because he's almost always traveling outside of the U.S. Nate and I didn't grow up together because of the age differences, and I do not like him. He's always been a condescending jerk to me, my sister, and almost everyone, and his financial relationship with my father has always seemed manipulative to me. When my dad told me about the changes to his will, I started crying. Part of it was shock, surprise, but yes, if I'm being brutally honest with myself about the type of person I am, and if I'm being transparent with you all, I had always had an expectation in my mind that, when my dad died, both of my siblings and I would receive a sizable inheritance. For context, per Google, my dad would fall somewhat above upper middle class by U.S. income standards. And it almost felt like an injustice that I had always been a great daughter and very close to my dad, but that I was being cut out of the will so that everything would go to my brother, who's always been kind of a jerk. So I cried. Then I asked my dad if we could stop talking about it. That was a few days ago, and we haven't talked since. My partner says I shouldn't be reacting this way, that I should call my dad and apologize for guilt-tripping him for just wanting to take care of someone who needs it more than I do. I have a moderately successful career so far. For what it's worth, I am not in any way planning to cut off contact with my dad, spend less time with him, or convince him to change his will back. I won't even bring it up. This is solely backward-looking to whether I was an a-hole when I cried and shut down the conversation. I know I mentioned before I'm really biased about Nate, so please give it to me straight if I'm clearly a greedy a-hole here. I don't think OP is an a-hole. OP is still 24 and starting out her life. To be told you get nothing so that your dad can fund your brother's lifestyle is a slap in the face. I think no contact is too much at first sight. I would point out to the father that he is essentially setting the son up for a life of ease and traveling, while making his other two daughters work for it. In my opinion, everything needs to be divided equally, and I understand why OP is upset.